Hello and welcome back. Today we're working on a Mullard 69C, which is actually just a rebadged Philips 3052. The 3052 came out just before the war, in about 39 or something like that. A friend of mine's mother had one, and I remember her saying that she got the radio in 1940 when she was living up in Sydney, and it was playing right the way through to the mid-70s at least, or the late 70s actually, and then my friend said it got thrown out, so that was pretty unfortunate. I've come across quite a few of them, probably half a dozen or so, and none of them have been in particularly great condition, and I've been stuck because these have an electromagnetic speaker in them, and none of them worked. They were all eaten by rats or mice or something like that. They weren't even affected by insects. They were actually rodent damaged. So, yes. But then on Saturday, I spotted this one, and it was under a number of other rubbish items. We had a market, and I bought about 8 radios or something like that, for very, very cheap. And this one came along, and I decided, yes, I'll take that. It wasn't even, I think I paid $5 or something like that, ridiculous for it. And it actually worked. It's been recapped recently, as in last 20 years or so, and the wrong caps were used in the electrolytics. I've since got it working very, very well, except the volume control is, well, it's probably had it. So I have to find one of those or buy a new one and cut down the shaft. All the valves are good. I've just sort of noticed towards the end that the glass is, the lettering is, the stations are beginning to fall off. In fact, most of them have now, the white ones, but surprisingly the green and the red have survived. It's usually the red that falls off. The case is in pretty good condition considering. In fact, it's better than pretty good. It's very good. It does have a very fine crack along the bottom of it in the corner, and I'll just glue that up, fill it with glue. It's not even noticeable. So let's get into it. And the other radios, of course, I'll get to eventually. So let's start and have a look at the Mullard. Okay, so as you can see, it's fairly scruffy. It's been pretty much out in the shed for the last however many years by the looks of it. Has the Mullard dial on it as opposed to the Philips, although they're exactly the same, as I said. Let's have a look around the back. Didn't come with any knobs. So it's fairly standard. .3052 chassis. It must be the aerial, no earth. The flex is absolutely filthy and rock solid. Oh, the valves are here. 5Y3 can be problematic. That's not seized up. Transformer looks okay. There's no actual damage to the cord. So let's put it on to the dim bulb tester and see what happens. This has been done in the 70s, I would think. Okay, here we go. So that's on 80. Bring it up a bit further, I think. Okay, no life yet. $160. $180. Oh. Okay, so it seems to be working. Let's put an aerial on it.
It works. Each one more. The most cash. Now, I don't know nothing about music, but I just see it in that girl's eyes. When she got chocolate, carnival, huckster, said that she watches young women. Watch Elvis, we're going to. She had the taste of forbidden fruit. She could have eaten him alive. He was my destiny. However, Elvis's controversial and complicated manager is the main narrator of the story, which is an interesting decision. Hank's performance is nuanced, as is Lerna's direction and script.
Okay.
We are the same, you and I, she tells Elvis, in an oddly tender moment. We are two odd, lonely children searching for eternity. Butler sings most of Elvis's songs himself, and when he hits the stage...
Rightio, let's turn it off and let's have a look inside. Well, that was something of a surprise. Although the main cap is missing there. So it has been worked on before. Definitely been worked on. This should just lift out. Bit of luck. No. Let's see what's happened. There's a couple of screws but you won't be able to see that are above the dial, and they didn't look like they've got any washers on them, so it's just a matter of getting them to go through the holes. This one is catching. Okay. This is like it's been in a swamp. The cabinet looks really nice. No cracks or anything like that. These are quite heavy. Now there is a stress crack across here. I'm not sure that you can see that. Oh yeah, it's there. That doesn't seem to go. Oh yes, it does. But that's easily fixed. Not quite sure how that would happen. Ah, yes. New dial cord. That switch is frozen. Missing the dial lamp. Very odd. There's spiders living in there. Though the speaker looks very nice. These are really hard to get. The electromagnetic variety. I've got a couple more of these with exactly the same setup, and they have the cones missing, and they've been chomped on by mice or rats or something. Okay, looks very nice. Let's have a look underneath. I can immediately see this has been completely recapped, but quite a number of years ago. These will not do. Jamicon. Never heard of them. Yes, these look like 70s capacitors to me, although they could be newer. Not quite sure what that is. 60 or 9 or 0.9. Those should actually be replaced. Alright, well I'll bring up the schematic and we'll have a look at that and see where the original electrolytics went, because I'm sure these are not big enough. If it's going to be used regularly, which I suspect this one will be because I'm giving it to someone, I have someone in mind for this, they will want to be much better I think it has a 32 and an 8 in it. Whereas these are 22 and 22. Yeah, definitely not good. And they're only 400 volts too. So I'll whip those out and put in beefier ones of the right value. It's got pencil marks all over it. So these are probably going to be okay if they're rated at high enough voltage. Remember, you can always use the same voltage or higher, and the same goes for capacitance too. So if it was an 8 microfarad capacitor here, then you can always go higher, up to maybe a 16, but not a 22. And although you can, but there's no point in it. And with the voltage, you must go at least the same value or much higher. Yep, okay, so we'll get back into it. And we're back in a while. So I'm replacing this one, which has come out of it, with this 40. So this one's 400 volts and this one's 600 volts, which is more like the capacity of the radio. So you can see the diameter, and this looks like it's actually beginning to bulge a little bit. So I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'll have to test this, although it's not bulged on the top. So, and there's the 16, just for comparison in size. 400 volts, 600 volts. Those capacitors have been replaced. So let's put these valves back in again. This is a 6F6. And the 5Y3, the 5Y3 has its base loose, so I'll have to fix that. So let's have a look. Right, let's plug her in on the dim bulb and the variac and the isolation transformer, of course. And we'll also put a globe in there. See if this works. It's not tightening up. Okay. I'll have to take the glass off and have a look at that. I'll just take it off and clean it anyway. Although very carefully, the transfers on these are pretty fragile, and this one is in excellent condition. So I'm just going to brush it off very lightly. Okay, let's put some voltage on it. And it's working. There's the aerial. Oh, it already sounds a bit deeper.
As if the answer to Facebook and Uber is a digital detox in a rural Australia. But the increasingly totalitarian regime now encompasses smartphones, APIs, screens, algorithms, endless ratings and feedback mechanisms, cloud technologies. They also invite a degree of pessimism that neither Charles nor Smith is quite willing to engage in. Smith is too...
Something cathartic through. Billy and Narrawan, I'm walking here, Billy.
Hey, boys. There's no one more lost in the AFL than Caden Stevenson. So, what did North do with him from here, Dwayne?
Well, he's been getting it 25, 26 times in the twos. Big weight.
To really see is through, say, Ancestry when you do a search, but that's not necessarily correct.
Yeah, reading things, as I was sort of saying, I've been uncovering a few things, and it is incredible too when you see handwriting or documents.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Deborah.
is. And do you know what? I have found ancestors through Trove, but I've actually got parents that are younger than their children. This is what people are putting on their family tree.
Rightio. So that volume control has got to be fixed. It's causing hum. So it's shorting out.
Manager of Treasured Voices at the National Library of Australia. Colin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jacinta. Lovely to
Are you pumped about Trove?
Yes, Trove's been around for about 20 years now. It is very, very useful. Okay, back to the radio. So I'm going to turn it off. And let's see if we can fix the volume control. It'll probably be a sealed 1, 2. No, there's a big gaping hole in the side. So let's pour some proper stuff in it. Not WD-40. Which is basically just kerosene or something. Okay. So this is the good stuff, which I use. Costs around about $60 or something a can at the moment, so you just need a tiny amount of it. Although this volume control is very large. It's probably far too much. Doesn't feel all that great actually. Might have to go and get another one off another radio. Of course, there's no power switch on these radios. A friend of mine had one that ran for years and years and years. That sounds like shortwave to me. Aha.
Is where to find out more about that. So, Colin Sweet, is it a matter of people getting in and just doing those transcriptions, or do they need to kind of register, or?
Yeah, so there's no sort of prior knowledge or research that you need to do beforehand. It's really a matter of just jumping onto Trove, searching some keywords. Again, as I said before, it's really about what your interests are and searching keywords. In the search results, you'll find that it very clearly says if the item can be text corrected, so it helps you out there.
Wonderful.
And then you can just jump in and do it. You don't need to have an account. It's completely free to use, of course. You can, of course, have an account if you want to keep up with your text
Colin
corrections.
Sweet,
So, yeah,
thank you. Project Manager of Treasured Voices, National Library of Victoria. We're going to get a list after 3 o'clock.
The glass, which looked so good and promising, is actually not all that flash. So someone's wiped this off, and you can see down in Queensland is missing a lot of numbers. I don't know whether you can see that. Queensland is missing a lot of numbers, and there's a few missing from New South Wales. Victoria is better, and South Australia and Western Australia seem to be, well, okay. So it looks like someone's washed it down that direction and then realised, because there's a mark straight way through there. And a lot of the numbers are actually sitting down the base here. So A5, A0, 5. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of numbers down the bottom of the dial. Yeah, so, but that doesn't matter. It still looks pretty good. And I'm just going to find my soft brush. Yeah, I pinched this off of someone a long time ago. Don't know who. Oh. So, yes, the numbers are just falling off. So I'm not going to do anything more than that. So I've already ruined it. It's interesting that the white numbers fall off. It's usually the red that comes off. And there's some numbers down there too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just go around the edge of it. Ow, that is sharp. Polish this off. Just clean the edge. Might be able to reproduce it if I can find one to copy off. All right. So we'll clean this off. Yes, there's plenty of numbers and letters down there. And we'll very carefully put this back in. So that is going to be as good as it gets, unfortunately. Right, so I'll screw those back on again and continue cleaning it, and then we'll get to the case.